Hello everyone, it's Tonya with Scribbles and Time. I'm going to do a flip through today of my latest journal, and hopefully this will be a quick one. I'm gonna try not to go too slowly in the process, and I think it'll go pretty quickly. I think the longest part is going to be me explaining the name of the journal, as always. So I think I've mentioned before in videos that when I make journals, I always have to visualize someone, because I like for my journals to have personality, and I hope that they always do. That's always my intention anyway. But I like for my current style of journals is kind of a style that I like to visualize sitting out on a table. And so typically I try to visualize, the home of where it's going to be sitting out, or just the story for it. And I don't always, talk about that part because I think it sounds kind of odd, but that's just the way my thought process works. I have to kind of create a personality for the journal. And so I named this one Her Brooch, and it's because as I was making this journal, my thought process was kind of a grandma or mother with a journal, and putting pictures of her family and loved ones in the journal. So this book does have several old photos in it, and I'll show those to you as we flip through. But anyway, so I kind of visualize, a mother or grandmother doing that, and then like a grandpa, because this does definitely, to me, in my opinion, have somewhat of a masculine feel as well. I visualize him coming in and just kind of shoving receipts or paperwork into it, so it does have some kind of little bit of a masculine touch as well, I think. But I just, for whatever reason, I visualize this grandpa saying, yep, that's her brooch. And so anyway, that's kind of my thought process for the title of the book. I always like to kind of explain, what my thoughts were when I was making the books that I make, and that's just kind of my thought process on this one. And it has a lot to do with the ephemera that's inside of it. The outside, as you can see, does have a brooch on the front. There is I wanted to kind of incorporate a fall feel about this because we have fall coming up. Yay, love fall. But anyway, so I wanted to kind of incorporate a fall feel. But again, I like for the books to be able to sit out on a table all year. So I don't want this to be something you only can pull out in the fall. So anyway, back to the cover. There is a brooch. There is a piece of wheat, and it has like a very amber tone to the stones behind it, kind of a yellowy, just a very amber colors there. The stem, I don't know how well you can see, but there's like a little crystal up here on the top and on the stem, and there's a piece of wheat coming up here. I am really loving wheat. Someone had commented on a previous video that there is a biblical story in reference to wheat, and I have yet to research that, but I plan on it. I'm very excited. I've got to go back and see who made that comment, and thank you if you're the one that did that. Thank you. At any rate, I do want to go back and look at that, and I am getting to my bottom of my wheat stash. And anyway, that's the brooch that's on the front. The frame around it, I have kind of inked up. It's a gold frame, or a gold tone frame, so I've kind of inked it up to help it blend with all the layering. I did the glass vial here. It's one of the sewing, I always want to say sewing machine parts. It's not sewing machine parts, it's watch parts. I catch myself doing that all the time. It was watch parts, and that's the original label that was on there, and I've put all kind of little fibers inside of it to kind of show, because the little watch parts are tiny. They wouldn't have shown up. There's overall buttons and fasteners there. They're stationary. They're not functional. I guess they could be if you wanted to remove this and use them, but I did attach them very securely, and they're not meant to be functional. They're meant to have that grandpa overall look about them. And lots of layering. Here's a little like a fabric tab there. Some fabric behind it, paper. It's hard to see, but this one says number and date. A book spine right there. The old tag there, metal tag. This is one of my pieces. I've done up a bunch of these that I absolutely love. I've used all kind of fabric and whatnot and made up, I call them my little quilt pieces, but they're not quilt. They're, here, I'll show you one. See, I make these with old clothing tags and just all kind of different materials. And I like to use them as backdrop pieces for pockets and whatever. So here I used one on the cover. There is some cardboard. It's hard to see the cardboard, but there is cardboard layered behind that. A book cover and a book cover. The spine, string on it, sorry. The spine looks like that. I have it kind of sitting off kilter. Again, that just adds a little bit of, to me, some personality to it. String everywhere, I'm sorry. I haven't tidied the book up yet. I'm trying to get the video done while I have time to do that. Today's going to be a busy day for me. And then the side view. Maybe I better turn that sideways. I tried to get my camera kind of close so that we can see. It's very early morning, so I'm probably have a sleepy voice, and hopefully I cover everything pretty well. I'm still getting my coffee down, so getting myself woke up. Under the lace, I did do the layering there. And this is not what I would call a real frilly book. There is lace here, obviously, but I didn't do the lace all on the inside. That's my typical style. Again, I try to go with more of a masculine. It's an old piece of, you'll see it when I do the flip through, but I put this in here to use as a bookmark. Again, it's something I visualize an old grandpa coming in and just shoving in the book on the table. And then when you open it up, there starts the old pictures. So this, hopefully it's not glaring because that is an old photograph. I don't think it's what's called a tintype. It's not a tintype, but I guess whatever ink they used on the photos, it definitely creates a glare when the light hits it just right. But that is the original photo, and I used it as a little cover for the little writing section in the front. I did wrap from the overall straps the piece of gauzy fabric around and attach some really old buttons here. Let me see if I can zoom in. That's a fleur-de-lis. And then down here is, I don't know what symbol that is, but these are really old buttons. Pam has gotten me really into the old button thing, and I've pulled out some of my old buttons, and I've ordered a few old buttons, but that's Pam with Pandora's Junk Journals. She really, I said that in the last video, she has me all about buttons right now. When you open this up, there's old fabric, very thin, and this was just meant to be a little writing section. I hope someone would get this and add their own little story here. I'm just going to kind of flip through very quickly. I've just kind of tucked an old photo in here. This is a tintype photo, and it's in the original cabinet card, which is absolutely fallen apart, but to me, that's beautiful. I love, I mean, that shows how old it is. His life's history, but a very cool old photo. I've just kind of tucked in there. I've tucked in just one of these old game cards. I've told the story about these in another video. Just going to tuck that in there. It's got some like sailors on it. This is two signatures. This is an old letter. I hated to even fold it because I have this stack of old letters, and you can see where staplers were attached, but there are no folds in them, and so I hate to even fold pull these pieces of paper because they're so cool. But this one's dated September 18th, 1962. So that's not as old as the photos obviously are in the book. Here's another piece of material. Crunchy paper. I have the paper intentionally all kind of turned and whatnot so that they kind of layer out. So they're intentionally turned and kind of not even. I want that layered look. In the center of this signature, this hangs out, you know, so that you can see it from the front. There's just some old bolts and washers, rusty bolts and washers that my friend Dee did up. The other side of that typed paper. And then on the back is an old photo. This is the actual cabinet card and everything that I've attached here as the back of the writing journal. And it's just got an old picture of, I guess, kind of a grandpa figure. Whether or not that was her father or her husband, I don't know, but that's the picture. And then here we have this, the fabric that I use behind the signatures is just a really old vintage style fabric. When I bought this fabric, it was sold as to be like a Civil War era. No, it's not actually old fabric. I think it's just replicating that style. And I love it. This is probably one of my favorite fabrics that I have. And I've been using it a lot lately, trying to let go of stuff. This is a beautiful old doily. A little bit of that fabric tied on here. This is an old photograph. That's very pretty. Up at the top of this page, I put a ribbon crimper that I got from Kathy with Rust Paper Scissors, and I attached a penny with a cross punched out of it. And then kind of attached here is just a little mini journal section, a journaling section with grungy paper, strings everywhere. Here's a little fabric tab here at the bottom. Here is a coaster, and I wanted to put this in as like a page tab like this, but I didn't want to, y'all know how I am. I don't like to, you know, I like for things to remain original, even the brooch on the front. So I attached the brooch to this piece of like quilted section here, and I pinned it onto that, and it's very secure on there. But I attached that onto here just in case ever someone wants to take the brooch off for whatever reason. It would require removing everything, but the brooch, you should be able to unpin that if you choose to. So the way I did this is I just created a little tuck area right there to where that kind of only fits in that one way, so that it pokes out like a tab, so that you can see it from the side of the book. Can you see? And I used one of Kathy's, these are so neat. It's one of the like brads, but she has gone through, Kathy with Rust Paper Scissors, she's gone through and put little flat-backed crystals onto the brads. So they're like grungy and rusted up, and then they have these little flat-back crystals on them. I love the mixture of the grungy with the pretty. So I love that. Y'all really need to check her out. She has some neat items in her little Etsy shop. And then here's the piece of measuring tape, and I just kind of threw that in there. It can be used as a bookmark. It's very old. It's I guess that's cloth. Very neat. And then this is just a book page. It has like a pretty pictures on it. It's just an old book page. I just kind of stuck that in there like that. And then in between the signatures, there's, you know, the doilies that are wrapped around each signature. Like that. Very old, very delicate. And then on this page, again, it's mixed media paper. For those of you who haven't watched my videos before, I like to use mixed media paper. My thought process is you can gesso over it and sketch, draw, or attach photos to the pages. This is an optical lens that my friend Dee gave me. There's the fabric coming down between here, and then this is a, I think this would be a napkin or a hanky. I'm not sure which, but I believe this is a napkin. And it's got beautiful little embroidery down here on it. I love the tones of it, very earth tone. Paper, the fabric coming down, more of the mixed media paper. I don't know that I've been showing all of the little beads, but in the center of this signature, this is a wooden rectangle piece of wood. I have a wood carving kit. I plan on getting that out and starting to experiment with that, but I got these with the intentions of experimenting with my wood burning set, not wood carving, wood burning. Here's some more of the rusty bolts. And those do hang out and show. In the center of this little booklet here, I just put a bead and a washer. And the bead is really cool. It looks like a honed rock. Uh-oh. It kind of looks like a rock, but it's black and kind of a beigey color. The other side of that napkin, here is a, I don't know what this is. It feels like stone. It has a lot of rust and earthy colors. I have two of them. I have a small one and then this large one. So the small one will be going into a future journal at some point, but this one went here like a tab. Here's our old ledger paper, 1910, August 31st, 1910. I got this at our local antique store. I have several of these. I'm doing up a box of old papers to send to, or I should say an envelope, because shipping is so expensive sending stuff to Canada. But I'm going to do up a envelope and send some old papers to Kathleen Sunby, and I have purchased a few extras of those to send to her, but I am still trying to, I'm going to go back to the antique mall because there was some more old photographs that I wanted to go through and get her some old photographs as well as some more papers. This is a crocheted, I think this was considered a placemat, maybe a pillow, a front to go over a pillow. I'm not sure, but I think it's a placemat. Here's another old photo. Now this one, get the string off of it. This one, oh, I just love this picture because I love looking at the background. It is a tintype. So I don't know if there's going to be a glare on it, but the background of this picture is amazing. Amazing. The original cabinet card, it is all chipped up and broken up. This came out of the same photo album as the one with the, where was it? I think it was tucked in here somewhere, but the one with the boy on it, it was all the same photo album. Did another little kind of a mini journal thing in the center of this signature. And then this is another old paperwork. This one's March 18th, 1889. I also got this at the antique store that I went to. This came out of the same photo album. He looks kind of grumpy to me. This is a young boy, and then on the back side is another picture, and I think it might be him years later. To me, they kind of resemble. He still looks grumpy, but I think that's how they had to pose then. I think the cameras took so long to take the picture that they couldn't hold a smile for that length of time. So I think that's the story behind why they don't really smile in the old pictures. But anyway, I've kind of hinged that in here. Again, there's strings everywhere. Oh, that's the actual string from the photo album. Okay, I'm going to leave that alone. And then the back page here, I have my my press there. And then just some grungied up paper. This is the back of that. I left the back of the book plain, just as it was. Old book, I can't remember the name of it. It was like, I think early 1930s. And the back is very grungy. Did I ever measure? Oh, I'm so bad about that. I don't think I measured, did I? Okay, so with all the stuff sticking out, we are at about, I'd say 9.5, because really there's not a lot on the top that wouldn't be removable. So I'd say 9.5. But the actual hard part of the book, I don't know, if you count all that, we're probably more at the ruler length, which is 12. But anyway, if you count just the hard part of the book, 9.5. Coming across this way with all the stuff poking out, we're at just like almost 9.5 again. We've got a lot of 9.5s. And then if you go just to the hard edge of the book, we're at about 7.5 or 7, 7.25 maybe. The thickness of the book, and we're at probably about, let's say, 3.5, something like that. I think that's everything now. I finally remembered to go back and measure. Don't think we did that. If you have any questions, please let me know. And if you like the video, please give me the thumbs up, please. And comment below if you have any questions or anything to ask. I would really appreciate the comments and the thumbs ups. And thank you for watching. Thanks for taking the time to watch the video. Y'all have a blessed day.